My name is Lila Bashan. I'm a development professional and a Foreign Service officer with the United States Agency for International Development. But this video and everything on my page are all my own personal views, and it's nothing official. I love my career in international relations, so I want to provide you with 6 surefire ways to kickstart your career in international relations. If you're wondering, how do I start? I'm here to assure you there are so many different ways and so many different venues for achieving the career that you really want to achieve. It'll be different depending on your family circumstance, your financial obligations, all of that, but I assure you there is a way that everyone can achieve the career that they want to achieve. So go out and do it now, because the only thing holding you back is yourself. My first advice is to intern or volunteer. It's a great way to get professional experience. It's never too early or too late to start interning or volunteering. I started volunteering in 7th grade at an elderly person home. I would take the bus with my friend after school once a week and go spend time with the people who lived there. It didn't necessarily give me professional experience that directly relates to my job today, but it did instill in me this belief that you can make a positive change in one person's life. And that's an important part of why I do what I do. So figure out where you'd like to intern. Give them a call. Look for intern opportunities on their website. Cold calling, the worst you can get is no. If they don't have internship opportunities, volunteer opportunities, or if you're not the right fit for them. But ask, because the worst you'll get is a no. If you don't live near an entity you want to volunteer or intern with, you can look into virtual volunteering. That's an opportunity now. And you can create your own opportunities. Find an organization that you really respect and start a book donation drive and go sell them, or start a bake sale, raise funds for them, because you're not limited by where you live or your experience you have already. You can go out and make a positive change. And working on domestic issues can translate into international issues. One, we have poverty, refugees, domestic violence, trafficking in persons in the United States. And so you can work directly on issues that do have a global scale to them, but then also working on issues relevant to your community. One, you create the positive change, but then 2, that can translate into getting skills that will be applicable in international relations. My second piece of advice is, if you haven't gone to college, go to college. It's a great way to learn more about what you might be interested in. It's pretty essential for your resume for a job in international relations. You don't have to specialize. I did study international relations while I was in college, and I was so happy I did, because I felt like it created a really strong foundation to build my career off of. But a friend of mine from grad school even studied religion in college, so you don't need to specialize. Or if you do know you want to go into global health or water engineering, you can focus as early as college. When you're in college, make sure to volunteer and intern, and also make sure to do study abroad. It's such a great way for you to know if you like living abroad. You can have an international career and be based in America. You don't have to be abroad. And at the same time, you might love living abroad. I did my study abroad in Japan, and I found out that I loved the experience of living in a foreign culture. And so that made me want to make sure that I spent a lot of my career working abroad. The third way to jumpstart your international career is to do Peace Corps. Peace Corps is a government agency that gives Americans an opportunity to go serve in foreign countries. A perk to Peace Corps is you get to oftentimes live in communities and smaller towns, and a lot of times with families, which is something working for USAID or the State Department or even NGOs. A lot of times you're based in the capital city and you don't get that exposure to community life. So it's a really neat way to get that exposure. It's a great way to build up language skills, cross-cultural understanding and sensitivity. And it's a way that a lot of people in international development segue into a career in international development, because a lot of times you need international experience to get international experience. It's a catch-22. But if you do Peace Corps, you already have it, and it looks really great on your resume, and it's a really great experience. I didn't personally do Peace Corps, but a lot of my friends have, and honestly, I wish I had, but at that time in my life, it wasn't the right fit. But I have to say, there is an age requirement. You have to be at least 18 years old and have a bachelor's degree, but there's no upper age requirement. So you never know. When I retire, I might go do Peace Corps. And it's also a good reminder that you're not too young and you're never too old to go pursue your dreams and to live internationally. And Peace Corps is a really great way of doing that. A lot of people do Peace Corps after college and before grad school. You can do it whenever you want to, but I think a lot of people after grad school, they want to go get a job, and they don't necessarily have the opportunity to do Peace Corps. So you can do it whenever, but that's a recommendation to do it between college and grad school. Peace Corps also can help you get into grad school because it looks good on your resume. So that's my next suggestion for pursuing a career in international relations, is to go to grad school. A lot of jobs require a master's degree in international relations. I got mine in international peace and conflict resolution with a focus in humanitarian development from the School of International Service at American University. It was a great experience and I learned so much. And one of the reasons I went there is because they, at least at the time, it was almost 15 years ago, I'm not sure now, but back then they were letting in a younger student body because I'd interned in college and I'd worked for Mercy Corps for a year after college, but I only worked for that 1 year before going to grad school because I knew what I wanted to study and I wanted to go do it. But a lot of international relations grad programs do want a student body with more professional experience. So a lot of people in those grad programs are in their later 20s, early 30s, whereas I was in my early 20s. There are great international relations schools out there: Fletcher at Tufts University, SICE at Johns Hopkins, SIPA at Columbia, SIS at AU, George Mason, George Washington, Georgetown. There's so many cool opportunities. So figure out what you want to study. It is a great time to kind of zero in on what you might want to work on. And at the same time, it doesn't box you in. I got my master's in peace and conflict resolution, but for the last many years, I've been managing multi-sectoral teams. So I did join USAID as a crisis stabilization governance officer, and I did work for the State Department as a conflict prevention officer. So I have put what I learned into use, and at the same time, as you move through your career, you learn and you grow and you evolve. So don't worry too much about getting the perfect fit in grad school. Just figure out what you're interested in and go do it. Grad school is such a fun opportunity to spend so much time learning about issues you find really interesting. So my fifth bit of advice for pursuing a career in international relations is to know you are not alone. We've all been where you are right now. Every ordinary hero out there pursuing an awesome career in international affairs started not doing that. And they were anxious and they were confused, and we've all been there. And so rely on other people and know that you're not alone, and know that you can really learn from other people and get advice from other people. You know, when I started my career, I felt really yucky about doing informational interviews because I thought the person would feel like I was trying to use them, or it just felt like yucky to me, especially when I first moved to Washington, D.C. to go to grad school. But now being on the other side of it, I realized that if done in a really genuine way, it's not yucky at all. It's a way that people do share the advice they have, the information they have, and I guarantee you people are happy to help. You know, one, we've all been there, and so it's good karma to pay back. Two, most people in this line of work do it because they want to help make the world a better place. The best way to do that is to help more people enter this career field and make their own positive way in the way they can. And so we're eager to help other people. I'm regularly in touch with students or mid-career professionals who are interested in pursuing a career in international relations. It's one reason I wrote my book, is because I thought it'd be a great way to consolidate the advice I'd been giving people for years, and also to get some of my friends and colleagues' advice, because I do really want to help people pursue a career in international relations. So, Annex 1 of my book, Global and Extraordinary Guide for Ordinary Heroes, has a great list of jobs to apply for, and Section 3 is filled with career advice. So, this is just the tip of the iceberg. But also with informational interviews, if you don't feel comfortable reaching out to people, then use LinkedIn to reverse engineer the problem. Find someone who has a job you think is really cool and look at their profile. Where did they go to school? Where did they start their career? What did they study? What have they been doing? It can help you figure out the building blocks to get to where you want to get in your career. And then if you're feeling bold, you can even reach out to them and ask for a virtual informational interview. You know, I'm here in Armenia, and so I email with people or I talk to them on Skype. You don't have to be in Washington, D.C. or New York City or London to talk to someone there about the career they have and the advice that they have for you. And my sixth piece of advice is to apply for jobs. This might seem crazy and you're like, well, that's super obvious. But if you're not feeling confident or you don't think you have enough qualifications, then you might not actually be applying for jobs. And let me tell you, no one's 100% qualified. Everyone, it's so rare that someone finds the exact perfect candidate for the job they're looking for. I once talked to an NGO recruiter and she said, you know, we really write our job requirements for like the gold star candidate, but they never get it. And so apply, because you might have more qualifications than the other candidates, or you might not, but there might be something about your resume or cover letter or interview that really stands out for them. And no one expects you to know 100% when you start a job, especially more entry-level jobs. But for any job, if you knew everything already, that would be extremely boring and it would not be an interesting, challenging, fulfilling job. So expect not to know everything or have every qualification, but still apply. Find jobs that you think you might be interested and you might be qualified for. You know, if it asks for like 20 years of senior leadership experience and you're 2 years out of grad school, don't apply for that. But you know, if it asks for 5 years and you have 2 years, or if you have a slightly different master's degree, or don't set yourself up for expecting to ever have 100% of the qualifications. Apply for it. And also understand that if you want to work for a certain agency or institution and they don't have jobs, or you're not exactly qualified for the job you might want to get, apply for something you are qualified for. Like if you're in human resources, but you yearn to work in human rights, apply for the human resources jobs, because then you get your foot in the door, you start building yourself at that institution, and then you can volunteer in the human rights sector, volunteer with that team, and slowly move in that direction. A lot of people that I've worked with, you know, a lot of people didn't actually start out in international development. They were opera singers, or, you know, I worked with a beer brewing monk who moved to development, or, you know, human resources experts or financial management expert who then evolved into development professionals. So you never know what you'll evolve into if you don't try. So apply for jobs, send out resumes, send out 20, send out 200. The more resumes and jobs you apply for, the higher your chance of getting one. It's very rare to, you know, get a response for every application you send out. You'll probably maybe get one response for every 20. So send them all out, and you'll increase your chances. So I hope this advice has helped. Please leave questions, comments in the comment section. Please subscribe and know that you're on your way.